name is Darlene. Welcome to Stand Strong, a fun, educational, inspirational, and motivational show about people overcoming life's obstacles.
Hello, welcome to Stand Strong. I'm your host, Darlene Luff, and for those of you who have been following our show from the beginning, I would like to thank you for your support. And for those of you who are just tuning in, welcome. Unfortunately, my co-host Melissa is not able to join us today, but we look forward to her tuning in and joining us next time. At this time, if you would, I'd like to bring attention to the slippers that I am wearing in honor of our guest today. These are the symbol for cerebral palsy awareness. And our show today will be about cerebral palsy, and the guest that we have today at this time, I would like to introduce Kristin. Hi, Kristin. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. Could you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am. I'm 41 years old. I have.
You don't look it.
Cerebral palsy. Thank you.
Wow.
I have cerebral palsy. It's something I was born with, and I'm continuing to just plug along and live my life the best I can.
Well, you look fabulous. For our viewers at home that might not know what cerebral palsy is, could you explain?
Certainly. Cerebral palsy is really a broad term that describes a variety of chronic disorders that impair the control of movement, and usually it's caused by a lack of oxygen at birth, sometimes or right after birth, sometimes infections. There's really, those are the most common factors, but there's really not a lot known. They're still learning a lot about CP and what causes it.
Wow. Now, you were born with it?
Yes. Premature babies are the most vulnerable with cerebral palsy. Personally, I was born 2.5 months early.
Wow.
I was born at 3 pounds, 3 ounces, and in 1973, that was a big deal.
Wow.
Today they can do, it's changed a lot, and they can do a lot, with babies that are premature. I was given a 25% chance of survival.
Oh my gosh, and you're here. I need to cheer to that. You are definitely a fighter. Congratulations for being here with us. Thank you. Amazing. What was it like as you got older, growing up as a child, to have to deal with cerebral palsy?
Well, the first battle was more for my mom, because my cerebral palsy is very mild. So she brought me to a lot of doctors to find out what was wrong, because when I started walking, I walked very late, and I walked on my tiptoes, and my feet were turned in, and I was falling a lot. So she had to bring me to quite a few doctors before I was finally diagnosed at the age of 3.
Wow.
So, and that was, that brought a whole new road. I went to a CP clinic in Tewksbury, and initially, before they did any surgical intervention, they started with casting. What they did is they took my foot and pushed it up as far as they could and put my legs in a long cast up to about almost my hips.
Wow.
And they gave me Valium to sleep at night, because obviously that wasn't very pleasant.
Oh my goodness. And how old were you?
I was this was probably about between 3.5 and 4.
Wow. And I believe you brought some photos to share. If you could
did.
pull up photo number 1, please. When the photo is up, could you tell our viewers about what the photo is? When it comes up. Mm-hmm. That must have been, did you understand?
No, I don't have a lot of memories of what was going on at that point. I was so young. I only had a few, I only have a few real memories of what that was like on a daily basis.
Wow. I can't imagine.
Yeah, my first surgery was in 1978 when I was 4 years old.
4.
So the only memory I have of that is actually it was the blizzard of '78, And I thought it was really cool because my aunt and my grandmother got stuck at the hospital with us. So I thought it was really cool that they got to stay over with us. So that's my only real memory of that surgery.
And as you got older, when you started school, was it difficult for you? Were you treated differently?
I would say I wasn't treated differently, but it was difficult for me because I had crutches and braces that I had to wear during the day. The braces I wore during the day came just below my knee. And obviously when I had the surgeries, the first surgery I wasn't in school yet, but, and then I had braces to wear at night that honestly were like a medieval torture device. They were braces up to here with a bar separating my legs to keep my hips stretched as well.
Oh my goodness.
So they repeated the same surgery when I was 8 years old, and that was 1981.
Wow.
was the second surgery, and they couldn't do both legs at the same time this time because I was too heavy for my mother to lift at that point, obviously. So what the surgery was is what they call a heel cord lengthening, which is basically stretching the Achilles tendon because as you grow, your muscles and tendons with CP do not grow along with you. So they have to manually try to, we had a physical therapy regimen at home, as well as going to the clinic and bracing and things like that.
At 8 years old, that must have been, did you understand?
I didn't, I really didn't understand, and I was understandably, I was very angry because I didn't understand why I had to be different than everybody else. I just wanted to be like everybody else. And I didn't understand, why this was happening to me. And, I had two sisters. I have two sisters that are perfectly healthy. So it was very difficult, but I have a huge network of family and friends that at that point and, to this day.
So you have a great support system.
I have an amazing support system.
That's amazing.
So.
Cheers to that. Good for you. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Now, when you were younger, is cerebral palsy something that you outgrow, or is it something that stays with you and kind of goes dormant?
It's not something that you outgrow. My parents were told after that once I stopped growing, the disease would not progress, which is true. However, we were told that it was basically over, which unfortunately isn't true, because the disease itself is a brain injury, so that itself does not progress, but the effects of the disease on your body as you age become apparent as you get older. So they do the bulk of surgeries. They can do the most good when you're still growing. That's when they do the bulk of surgeries and physical therapy and bracing, and that's why they're so aggressive at a young age. And of course, they've come a long way in what they can do now, comparatively.
Absolutely. Now, so how old were you when you no longer had to wear the braces?
From my memory, I would have to say maybe about 10 or 12, but that's just by memory.
Really?
I could be off by a year or so. I still had to do the physical therapy, and I still had to do stretching every day and all of those things. But other than that, I just basically had a limp, and my feet were my toes were crossed over each other, so it was hard. My balance was always really off. But at that point, I basically, from after 14, when I had a bunion surgery, they pretty much, we thought it was over.
Oh, wow. So when did you, you got older, and I understand that you have a child.
I do.
An adult young lady.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
At what age, when you were an adult, did you start having symptoms of reoccurrence?
Well, I started having symptoms probably in my early 20s. I was working a lot. I worked retail, and I waitressed, and so I was on my feet all the time. So my initial symptoms were my ankles hurt a lot, and then my calves started to become very tight and difficult to stretch, which was reminiscent, obviously, of my earlier symptoms when I was dealing with CP. So at that point, it was trying to figure out, what the treatment was, if any, for an adult.
Is there treatment for an adult?
Basically, yes. There are treatments for adults. It's basically managing the symptoms, and just it's keeping yourself as active as possible. Keeping your muscles as stretched as possible.
So exercise, you would say, would be
exercise
a big
is key. Yeah, stretching is absolutely key. And physical therapy, I've learned a ton from my physical therapists. They've been really helpful in setting me up with a program that I can do at home. And I've done, as an adult, I've had a series of Botox injections that they do in the muscles. And what that does is it relaxes the muscles so that you're able to stretch more than you would be able to.
Really? Botox?
Yeah.
I thought it tightened.
It's not the same kind. It's a different kind.
Shucks.
Yeah, I know. I always joked about how my legs wouldn't have wrinkles, and then I found out it was a different kind, so that was a little disappointing. But yes, I've had a series of Botox injections at various points, and also in 2004 and 2005, I had surgeries on both of my feet, separately, obviously, because the bunion that I had came back, and it was actually a bone deformity. So they basically they did what's called a great toe fusion, which it basically just straightens out your big toe, and they put a screw in there, and that gives you more stability and balance.
Oh wow!
And that makes a huge difference on a day-to-day basis.
Are you in a lot of pain on a day-to-day basis? Because you look amazing, and you don't look like someone who's going through such a terrible thing. You look really strong.
Well, I am on medications to manage the pain. I'm on Neurontin, which is a nerve pain medication, which is very common, and also Valium for the muscle spasms. So that's a daily thing. So obviously that helps tremendously. But I am in some degree of pain on a daily basis. Obviously, it's different every day. I don't really know what I'm going to feel like until I wake up.
Wow. Are you still working? Are you able to work?
No, I'm not working
So you're not working?
any longer.
But what advice would you have for our viewers at home that might be maybe going through something similar, because you are very amazing. I'm sitting here and I'm very amazed at the fact that this young woman has dealt with cerebral palsy her whole life pretty much, and you just look so vibrant and strong, and just stand strong, the name of the show. Your story is incredible. Do you have any advice for anybody watching that might be going through something similar?
Well, there are a few things I think that have been key for me. Is just to keep yourself moving. Even if it's the last thing in the world you want to do. And one of the biggest struggles that I've had to learn how to listen to my body and kind of figure out when to push myself and when to just let myself kind of kick back and relax and let my body rest. So that's been a difficult, and it's still a learning process. It changes all the time, but definitely just to keep moving as much as you possibly can and just keep going.
So you believe in the power of positive thinking?
Absolutely.
You hear that? The power of positive thinking, you can conquer and achieve anything, correct?
Absolutely.
I will cheer to that. Absolutely amazing. Now, I had an interesting question. Now, you said you had a daughter.
Yes.
Now, did giving birth affect, I mean, having cerebral palsy, was birthing different? Or?
No, my life at that point was very normal, in whatever
normal
phase, that might be, whatever that means. But It didn't. I didn't have symptoms at that point, so I was very fortunate in the timing of having my daughter. When I had her when I was 20, and I hadn't really started having symptoms yet. So when she was young, I was able to keep up with her and play with her, and have a pretty active lifestyle with her, which was absolutely wonderful.
That's wonderful. Now you said cerebral palsy is a birth defect.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be something like when you had your daughter. Would they have had to check her to see if she had
No,
it?
it's not hereditary in any way.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Is it considered a doctor's mistake, or is it just the growth?
In some cases, they used to have a lot of. They used to think that it was just happened at birth. They're learning. Like I said, it's still an ongoing process. They're learning about different causes. It can be, in some instances, the fault of the doctor, but in my case, it was just a lot of times it's just the lack of oxygen is what causes.
While you're in the womb, and
while
you
you're
don't get
in
enough.
the womb or during delivery or immediately after, that's what causes the initial brain injury. So that's why it doesn't. The symptoms, like the disease itself, does not progress as you age, because the injury stays the same.
So you won't. As you get older, you're not going to get worse. Your symptoms aren't going to get worse.
My symptoms will probably get worse, unfortunately.
I'm so sorry.
But it's okay. Just take it one step at a time. That's
an amazing attitude. That's how I wanted to have you on my show. That's amazing.
Well, one of the things with CP is that, like I said before, although the disease doesn't progress, the stress on your body, because you're walking differently and you're putting stresses on different parts of your body, and it takes your muscles so much more energy or effort to do what it would take someone without CP to do. So difficulty walking, and obviously arthritis is very common. Premature aging, which I'm just going to choose to not.
I'm not aging.
Not pretend I
think I'll drink to that. I'm not aging. I'm staying 20.
No, not happening.
1 is good. I'll take 21. That's good.
So, there will still be symptoms, and it's still not known. There's a lot that's unknown about what happens with adults, especially with where I have such a mild case of the disease. What's really is down the road. So it's kind of a.
Now there's different. Like cancer, there's different forms of cancer. Are there different types of CP?
There are. There are about, there are seven to 9, depending on which school of thought you want to go with.
And what type do you have?
Oh, I have spastic diplegia, which is actually one of the most common. And what that basically means, spastic diplegia. And the spastic part is your muscles are extremely tight. And that, unfortunately, even with the medications, that is that way every day when I wake up. It's like every day is like starting over where that's concerned. The diplegia means that it affects just the lower half, your two legs, or the lower half of your body. So I'm extremely fortunate. I mean, as a child, and even now, I'm amazed at watching the children that have CP that are in they're so much worse off than I am. It really humbles me and puts everything in perspective for me that they always have this amazing smile on their face and just this radiance, and it just really kind of puts me in my place a lot of times when I'm feeling bad for myself. So
that's amazing. That's wonderful. I'm thinking when you say spasms, when I get a leg spasm, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine that feeling all the time. So to me, you're an amazing soul. You're an amazing person to be able to deal with a smile on your face. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and sharing with our viewers at home. Stand Strong Show. The Stand Strong Show is a fun, educational, motivational show about people overcoming life's obstacles, such as our guest. And if we can touch one person by you sharing your story, then we're going to take off and to me, you're an inspiration. You're an inspiration to me, and I know to many others watching. You know, at this time, I'd like to give you a gift for joining us today. This is a t-shirt with our logo on it.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's just a little something to say thank you very, very, very much for
Thank you.
sharing your inspirational story with us. I mean, when I was growing up, I don't know much about cerebral palsy. Well, I do now.
A little bit, yes.
But I had an aunt that I was very close to, that I loved very much, that suffered from MD. So I sort of know she had gone through the stages when she was younger, from braces to a wheelchair and such. So listening to your story reminded me of that. Different diseases, but similar. And I might have to do a show on MD one of these times. But it reminded me of that. It made me I miss her very much. But is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, I think one of my biggest, one of the most helpful things for me as an adult dealing with CP has been, I have a rule for myself, and this rule I made about 10 years ago, I would say. I have a 3-day rule. And the 3-day rule means that anytime something new comes up, whether it be pain, a new symptom, a new, diagnosis of sorts, that I have 3 days. I have 3 days to pull the covers over my head and feel bad for myself and scream and cry and be mad at the world and do whatever I need to do to process that information. But after those 3 days, I have to get up and do something. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's doing a load of laundry or dishes or, anything, just to get up and make myself move. And that has really proven to be extremely helpful for me, for my own sanity. Otherwise, it's too easy to just let yourself feel bad for yourself, and you're not going to get anywhere that way.
I think that's awesome that you allow yourself that downtime.
You have
to be angry, to do whatever you want. I love the pull of the covers over your head.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then you just face the world again.
You have to.
It's incredible. That is, I'm going to cheer to that. That is really good advice.
Giving up is not an option.
Absolutely. Giving up is definitely not an option. I really believe that the power of positivity is what gets us through. What have you found to be your support system going through all of this?
Well, I have an amazing, very large family and an extremely amazing network of family and friends that I've been truly blessed to have people in my life that not only helped me, but helped my daughter, when she was younger and I was having surgeries and such, to deal with what's going on and to help and to be my support system and my strength when I don't have it.
That's amazing. You're very, very blessed. Very, very blessed
I am.
too. What keeps you going?
That's a tough one. A lot of things. I mean, it depends on the day. I mean, a lot of times it's just my daughter and, and just I've made it this far and I refuse to let this disease win.
There's another chair. We should just hold the glasses,
we'll just hold the glasses up
because you're amazing, and the things that you're saying, it's like, you make me proud, even more proud, and all my guests on the show have been amazing and have amazing stories, but Stand Strong it has a lot to do with people like you, and you with all that you've gone through, you've never given up hope, and you still continue to fight, and you still live your life, and were there ever times when your daughter was growing up that you would have to get her up for school or whatever and you didn't want to? Did she ever say, "Come on, Mom, get up"?
No, I very much, I mean, at that time frame, a lot of times, a lot of what I did is a lot of my motivation was I had to get up and take care of her, and I had to make sure that she had breakfast and got to school and I got to work. She really saved my life in a lot of ways and kept me going. And she's still she's extremely empathetic and helpful when I'm having a bad day.
And what is your daughter's name?
Kelsey.
Cheers to you, Kelsey. We are getting ready to we're running out of time, but I would love to have you come back and share more of your story and more information about cerebral palsy. That would be wonderful. Thank you all at home. Thank you for joining us and sharing your incredible story of strength and endurance. Thank you, viewers at home, for watching us. We look forward to you joining us each month. It is with much love, peace, and respect. Remember to always stand strong. Till next time.